Alright, had to flex real quick. Let's talk about lurking. Okay. So, yeah, I'm going to talk about lurking and from an IGL's perspective of lurking because there's so many videos that's like how to lurk, you know. They always talk about like what you're supposed to do as the lurk and shit, but like no one ever talks about like being the IGL and like calling and talking about like lurking with your team because like this shit needs to be discussed and as an IGL you need to know how to use this and like when to call it because like I think this is something that you should be calling. It's not something that like just happens because I don't know. And lurking is really important, and always having a lurk is dumb, and never having a lurk is also fucking stupid as shit too. So that's what I'm gonna talk about. So from an IGL standpoint and from like leading a team standpoint. So starting off, lurking. Like I just said earlier, first point is you should never always have a lurk, and you should never always not have a lurk. That's one of the biggest mistakes a lot of people make is they get caught up in like one style of play on their teams and shit, and you never you never keep the enemy team guessing. You have to keep them guessing, and you have to keep them on their toes. Like you have to force them to respect you. I made this mistake in the past. Like anytime we're in a man advantage or like anytime we're gonna hit a site, we always grouped up all five and hit it, which is like it's like technically right in a lot of the cases I called it, but it's not at the same time because it's all about conditioning. So when you get into like higher levels of CS and you want to start actually beating other teams, like the strats really do matter, but what matters the most is conditioning the enemy team because now you're playing against like enemy IGLs who are also trying to like insert their game plan on you and you're trying to get them used to this strategy so then you can fake it and do this other strategy. It's all about conditioning. And if you never condition the CTs to respect a lurk, then you're gonna see whenever you hit a site and like they get any type of info, you're gonna see like 4 CT like M4 staring right at you because if they never have a lurk on like 10 of their CT rounds, like why would they keep an anchor here if they have this read on you? Or say like someone watches your demo and they're like, dude, anytime they ever give info before like if they go quiet and we get some type of info and they're all five there, like they never have a lurk. So we can just rotate our anchor. Like we can just take that gamble. Which I mean, it's pretty risky to do that, but like at the same time, if they have a read, like might as well. Like that's just what it's about. So that's the biggest main point. Never not have a lurk and never always have a lurk because then if you always have a lurk, like they're just gonna expect it all the time. You always have to keep them on their toes, and then you never actually get the benefits of them waiting for a lurk, and then you end up never showing up, and then all five of you are hitting the site. So lurks are important. It's all about balance. The best teams, they really know how to balance things out. Like Astralis, you'll see them calling a lurk, and then you'll see them not like have a lurk one round. Like, and it really keeps the CTs guessing if there's gonna be a lurk that pops up after the site gets hit. So now, the second thing I want to talk about is when you should call a lurk. So I think the biggest thing, one of the reasons, and this is kind of sounds stupid, but you could just have like a fuck it type of like reason of like why you're calling a lurk. Just be like, fuck it, let's just have a lurk this round. Let's see if it works. That's completely valid in my opinion. Excuse the voice crack. That's completely valid in my opinion because like I don't know. Sometimes like just switching up like that works. It literally just works. Like just switching up whatever you're doing, it just works sometimes. So just saying like fuck it, like we're just gonna have a lurk, like do it. That's completely reasonable too. Another thing that you could another reason why you might want to call something like that would be if you notice the CTs rotate like really really quickly, then you could like set up a 4-1 type of default where you have like let's say 4 people B and you got to lurk apps, right? And you notice every time you go and hit the site, there's like 3 or 4 guys there. They rotate so quickly. And let's say it's like early round, you got full util. Have your buddies toss a couple smokes, like let's say CT and coffin, and then they flash, and then you just like you actually show yourself. Like this is like you're not really doing like a full type of fake. You're more like kind of like just working the site. This is what I'd call like a slow like a slow execute, like a slow work execute, where you're not a flash comes in, boom, you book it up and you run into the site. Like you're slowly working the site so that after you throw all this shit here, like your buddy can start lurking out. If apps going for a pick, if there's an opening for it, you're not fully committed to staying here and hitting A. You can always just back off, and that's like the beauty of calling these like slow executes. That's another mistake I used to make in the past too. And I'd always just call pops. Like we'd always just pop into a site, and it actually worked like a lot. But I've been watching a lot of demos, and I see like the actual use of executes now, and especially these slow ones. These are really good on anti-ecos, kind of off topic, but also for when you have a lurk, because they give you the ability to leave. If you decide to pop into a site and boom, like 3 flashes come over, and then you smoke CT on the fly, and then you got 3 guys up here, and your lurk comes out apps, and he's like, "Yo, there's no one on A." You're not leaving. Like you're forced to commit here, and the fact they said that no one's on A, like you know that there's gonna be 5 M4s here. Like you're gonna lose. So if you know you have a lurk and you're the IGL, try calling a slow, like I would call them a slow work execute, where it's like it could be like I've seen them like by teams like Big or Astralis, they throw it really slow. Like say they throw a coffin smoke, they throw a CT smoke on the fly, and then they'll probably also like line up a second orange smoke, and then they're just flash comes in, they're just slowly working this. They have one person post on CT if some like run through comes through. They're just slowly working it up. They clear out these angles, and then they'll just even this. Like they just throw shit on the fly. They're just working the map. Like think of it like as like a 1v1 map, and you're just clearing out angles. You're not booking it in here, and you got like an entry frag and shit. You're just working the map. This does take a lot more discipline to pull off though, because you have to kind of calm down. Like if you have like really aggressive players in your team, you have to calm them down, or else they're just gonna fly in and end up dying. Like the whole point of this is to have an option to leave if your lurk says so. So, and one of the last things I want to talk about for lurking is that the lurk, like this player, if you're gonna assign a lurk to your team, he has to be talkative as fuck. Like this dude has to talk a lot. This is not a role that you can just be quiet and just let him do his own thing. This role is so important for feeding information to the IGL that this guy should almost be the secondary caller. Like he probably is going to end up as a secondary caller if he's lurking properly and actually giving callouts, because his information and what he sees on the other side of the map can like win rounds and it can lose rounds. Like it's really important that this guy talks. And I think that sums up about everything. I just wanted to really stress like the types of sight hits that you should use, like the slow work execute if you have a lurk, and like the duties of a lurk, like I was saying, and like the type of player you want to assign to a lurk is if you're running a team. So it covers a lot of things that I wanted to talk about. Hopefully this helps your teams, and yeah, good luck.